All right, what's up, guys? So we are back here with another episode of Keys, and while normally I have a complete stranger that I don't know who's giving a ride with me, today I have someone who I consider a sister, family, someone who we were in the trenches together, okay? But to be honest, I don't think I know your story before we met in the trenches. So I have the pleasure of introducing to you today my friend, Desiree.
Hello. Hi.
So, Desi, first I want, just tell everybody right off the back, like, about your business that you have. And then I want to go into, like, before you ever had a business, when you were a kid, like, who is the Desiree that I don't even know that kind of built you into the person that you are today. But first, just tell people, real quick about the business you have now.
Yes. So I have a hair salon. So it is a natural hair salon. We focus on the health of your natural hair. So everything from your scalp onto your strands. So I'm located in the St. Louis Galleria Mall, and we've been helping hundreds of beautiful women and men take care of their hair. So that's who I am.
Yep, and y'all, she's got like her studio. I won't even call it a salon, it's a studio, okay? It's laid out. It's like one of the nicest in town, okay? So next time you're at the Galleria, make sure you check her out. When you need to get your hair did, looking good, this is who you gotta call. Okay, so I want you to take me back, because I think a lot of people, they would walk through the mall today, right? They would see your shop. It's beautiful, it's big, and for a lot of people, they would just be like, how? How do I get from where I am now to where you're at? And so I just want you to take us way back to, like, who were you as a kid, and like how did you, I know you weren't originally thinking entrepreneurship was in your journey, but like what was it like for you as a kid that kind of sparked this interest in you?
Yeah, honestly, entrepreneurship was sparked. My interest in entrepreneurship was sparked when I was very, very, very young.
Really?
So, yeah. My father, Sam Blue, a lot of people may know him, but he had always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and he had always drilled into me the same type of spirit. But I am a part of a really, really big family. So it's a family of, my dad had 9 children.
Ooh, 9!
Yeah. 7 girls and 2 boys. And then, of course, my mom, everybody was in my life. With that being said, we had a big, big family, and with that big, big family, we didn't have much, but we had each other. But I was homeschooled for most of my life. It was between homeschool and going to, like, regular schools. But right around, it was time for me to go to college. I mean, not college, I'm sorry, high school. It felt like college, you guys. But no, it was time for me to go to high school. And it was being provided for. I was going to a private high school. And that first year, there was an organization, a church organization that had paid for my tuition and everything, which was really, really nice. But when my family decided to move on to a new organization, so we no longer wanted to be a part of that organization, my tuition had stopped being paid for.
So you guys left the church.
Yes.
And then they said, actually, we're not paying for you no more since y'all leave.
That's kind of how it went.
But they said it, bless your heart, they said in the churchy way.
Yeah.
I got you.
Well, I was trying to not put it out there like that, but
No, I understand. I know they do it in church. Listen, we just feel that God is moving us in a different direction. Amen.
But I did not want to go to another school. And I fell in love with the school I was going to. So shout out to Tower Grove Christian School.
Woo, woo.
But I really didn't want to go to another school.
Yeah, I mean, that's so hard at that age. Like, you don't want to have to start over, make new friends.
Yeah.
And like, did you feel at that time? Did you feel like the burden? Like, what did you feel? Like, did you blame your parents for leaving? Did you blame the church for pulling the money away? Did you blame yourself? Like, how did you feel back then?
Honestly, as a child, I felt like, well, it's time to, figure it out, make your own way. That was like my first spark of entrepreneurship, and I'm going to tell you how that worked. So, of course, my parents was like, hey, I'm sorry, they're no longer paying for your tuition here to go to school here. And I was like, well, all right, I'm going to pay for it. And I remember my mom, she was like, how you about to pay for it? And I was like, I just need, I remember asking her, I was like, I just need like $15. And she was like, what you gonna do with $15? I was like, Mama, just give me $15 and take me to Sam's. And she was like, okay, baby. Like, you know what? She was like, I'm gonna let you live your dreams. Yeah,
So your parents were already like, you're gonna have to move school. They had given up. They're like, look, it is what it is. Yep. But your inkling's like, no, I'm going to pay for it myself. I need $15.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, go ahead.
And so she gave me $15 and we went to Sam's. We went to the Sam's. Which one did we go to? I don't remember which one exactly we went to, but I know we went to Sam's. And I saw a box of candy. A box of candy, and I was excited, and I was like, that's what I want. And she was like, you coming to Sam's to buy a box of candy? Like, you about to eat all the candy? Like, I guess she thought maybe I was coming eat all the candy or something.
She said, you need some chocolate therapy is what you're talking about. Okay, I see what this is going.
And so, no, I was like, no, Mom, I'm going to sell this box of candy. And she was like, oh, okay, baby. So she gave me the money, and we bought the box of candy. And then, and she was like, well, I guess you got to sell it now. And I was like, yeah, give me 10 minutes. I literally stood on the Sam's parking lot.
Wow.
I stood on the Sam's parking lot, and I approached people very nicely. And I was like, hey, my name is Desiree. I'm a straight A student, and I am trying to raise funds to so I can go pay my tuition for school.
Wow.
And when
y'all hearing this? Wow.
And when I say people, they were so generous, and they were giving me donations, and to the point where they wouldn't even take the candy, and they would just give me, donations, and I was so happy. And I remember, so it probably took me about a good 20 to 30 minutes, and because my mom was in the car watching me, and she was like, this girl is really out here
she said, I'm
candy.
doing this. Wow.
And then I remember going back to my mom's car, and I was like, hey, Mom, I have $30 now. Here's your $15, and I'm going to take $15 more to go buy another box. And then I think I remember her saying, you know what, invest it into yourself. So I went and bought two more boxes of candy, because it was like 30 in there. And I was selling candy. I was selling candy.
Were you still selling it outside of Sam's, or were you selling it everywhere?
Yeah, so I had upgraded in my head. So I had went ahead and typed me up a little paper, a little brochure, had my picture on there. I had my what do you call it? My grades. I had my actual grade report to show like I'm doing great in school.
Wow.
You should donate to me. So I would go on doors in neighborhoods, and I would knock on people's doors, and I would say, hey, I'm trying to raise money to pay for my tuition. This is my school, Tower Grove Christian School. And I did that. And I did that. I did. So I had got a lot of donations of people.
And so when you started this, what was your goal? How much money did you have to raise? And how much money did you raise?
So, if I can remember correctly, I believe the tuition was maybe somewhere around $350 per month. So I believe that was always my goal in the beginning. So for that first half a year, I was just like, okay, I gotta sell enough candy to raise at minimum $350 a month to pay for my tuition, But keep in mind, I had to also pay for. I was in sports,
Right.
so I wanted to go on the trips with everyone
So
else.
you really needed more than that.
Yeah. So I was blessed that my dad kind of like looked into it a little bit further and was able to find me a scholarship, which was great. Which paid for about half of that tuition. So that brought it down from, I believe, like $350 to like $150 every month that I needed. But keep in mind, I was like really young, trying to sell candy, so which was great. So I sold it every month on top of being a part of sports.
Wow. So you were making the money while you were in school, while you were doing sports, while you were doing everything else. You also got this side hustle. Little do your classmates know this side hustle was actually paying the tuition.
Had no idea that's what I was doing to pay my tuition, just to be in school with them.
That is incredible, Desi. And you know what I love about it?
All 3 years, all the rest of my 3 years in high school, I did it for 3 years.
From $15, a $15 investment and a little ingenuity is all you needed. And you said, I'm not gonna let this stop me. And I think that for so many people, when we face these insurmountable like moments, we think like, oh, this is it. It wasn't meant for me. That's why this is happening to me. I guess I gotta go do something else now. And it's like, no, you can't give up at the first roadblock that you hit. And you learn that lesson so early in your life that, man, I know you was unstoppable after that. So, okay, so you get through high school. You done paid your way through high school. Talk to me about what happens next.
So, so that pretty much sparked
your love for
my interest, for entrepreneurship. I was like, man, if I can, you know,
if I can pay for private school as a 13-year-old, I can do anything with entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so I always had in my mind that I knew I wanted to be in business, but I didn't know exactly what business. I never knew, like, you know, what was that business. So I felt like all through undergrad, that was my question for myself. So I'm like, okay, I know I want to be in business. I don't know what I'm supposed to be in business with. Like, all types of ideas.
I got some type of good or service inside of me.
Yeah, so I had the I was happy to be a part of some programs. So I went to University of Missouri St. Louis here, and I was a part of the Gospel Choir.
Oh.
So yeah,
I knew you could sing like that.
I played the piano too. But
okay, Alicia Keys. Wait a minute.
But yeah, and then I was able to build up to basically to be the vice president with Gospel Choir, but also like the director, the music director. So for a nice little while. And what was so great about it, that's what started my journey on how to basically start to learn how to actually lead an organization.
Learn the leadership skills.
Yes, we had to put on performances every semester. We had to practice, of course. We had to raise money. We actually had to raise money. We had budgets, and we had to, learn how to work together, and, book out, like, even though it was on campus, we still had to like book out like places like the Two Hill to do our performances, and then put out marketing. That's what I learned a lot of my marketing skills just by working with that organization, with Gospel Choir. So I was the one that was in charge of like, how are we going to get people to first of all know who we are, and that's just people here just on campus know who we are. But we gotta get people to actually come to the event and want to come. So, we used to do like different strategies as far as like, okay, well, maybe we can hand out flyers. Okay, we're gonna have food there. Okay, we're gonna do, A, B, C, D, whatever, different activities. And that was like a really good learning experience for me while I was in undergrad. Is to learn how to work with the organization, understand budgets outside of just bookwork.
Yeah, and you know what's so powerful about that is like I think a lot of people they see themselves in whatever job or career organization they're in now, and they're like, well, you know, some of them are happy where they're at, some of them are not. But what I always tell people, like, if you're a part of an organization, a business, and it's functioning and they can pay you and you're a part of it, like, there's a lot to learn there. And like, I learned so much more from being a part of a group or organization than I ever learned in a classroom. But it's up to you to decide, like, hey, I'm in the best classroom of all, like right now. And what you did was you didn't just participate and be like, oh, this was just a fun activity. No, you were learning.
Oh, yeah.
And you were absorbing all that information. And I know you used all that kind of stuff in the future when you were building out your own organization. Because you're like, oh, I already learned this stuff. I already learned what works, what doesn't work. How to get people to follow me, how to get people to work together, how to put in marketing techniques. Like, you got to learn all of that stuff in the safety of someone else's organization so that then you could, of course, implement it in your own.
Yeah, and it was so great because it felt like my own. Because, you know, that was the way it's set up at, you know, the university.
Right, they gave you ownership.
Yeah, they basically give the students ownership of that organization. And honestly, just because I was in a leadership role, in a leadership position, I had a lot of students look up to me as a leader of the choir, but not just of the choir, just a leader, period. So I was like, okay, I'm on my P's and Q's, you know, to make sure that, you know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because other people are looking at what I do in the steps that I make.
Awesome.
So, which is very, very important.
Incredibly. Okay, so, you know, you go through school. What did you study in school?
So my undergrad was actually business administration.
So you already knew earlier. You weren't like me where I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do in college.
No, not exactly though, because as a freshman, I went in to school, okay, and I was in biology major.
Oh.
Okay, because I thought I wanted to be
a doctor,
and I thought that, you know, that entrepreneurship was going to be, I was going to own some type of practice where I was going to be, you know, help healing people in West Africa or something. I don't know. That was my first thought, right?
Oh. And you, wow. And you know what made you decide to switch your major? Because that was a big mistake that I made, is I was afraid to change my major. I felt like a failure for switching my major, so I just didn't do it and then ended up getting kicked out of school. So for you, what told you, like, you know what, I'm gonna switch from biology?
So this is what was happening. So I was taking you know, chemistry and biology courses, math courses, and I was really good at it. Believe it or not, I was excelling. But it did not pique my interest. I know I was having so much more like joy and happiness, honestly, doing gospel choir and doing that type of work. And I remember being a little bit stressed out from like a chemistry class I was taking.
Ooh,
if y'all go to
organic chemistry stressed me out. It stressed me all the way out of school.
I love the labs. Don't get me wrong. I love the labs, and I loved any of the math. But it was just, I don't know, like the actual class. And I was just like, I don't know if this is really for me, if this is what I want to truly be doing. So I had to take a step back and think like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And so I remember calling my dad, because I remember this conversation. And I told him, I was like, hey, I'm in this class, but I don't think this is really for me. And then he said, you know what, daughter? Because, you know, he always pressed, you know, entrepreneurship. He was like, you've been an entrepreneur ever since, I'll try to act like my dad, y'all. You've been an entrepreneur ever since you came out of your mother's womb. Like, you came so fast and to this world that the doctor told your mama to stop pushing. And your mama said, I am not pushing. She coming out by herself.
He said, I can't.
And then the doctor was like, oh, she not pushing. This baby coming. And so I was like, he was like, so it's business. Business is your true calling. And I was like, yeah, you're right, Dad.
Wow.
You're right. Business is my true calling. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change my major right now.
Wow.
Now, I wish at that time that he knew or that someone knew. So if you're thinking about changing your major, and if you got a whole lot of scholarships because of one particular major, definitely look into that before you officially change your major on paper. Okay, because that can take away a lot of your scholarships. So that's what happened to me. So I had a lot of scholarships based
for biology
and for pre-med, because that's what I was going for.
So you talk to your dad. He's like, okay, you know, baby, just change your major. You was crawling out that room so quick, like you should be an entrepreneur. You like, yes, I'm gonna change it, which is what I should have done, but you actually did it. But then after you change your major, you lose half of your scholarship. Almost the same thing that happened to you in high school when they took away your money. People always taking your money away from school. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
okay.
So I had to, I had to find other ways, to make sure school was still being paid for. So I started to look up other scholarship options. I was able to find a few. I was able to find a scholarship with the Multicultural Center at the University of Missouri St. Louis. Shout out to Mr. Freeman, my counselor. But yeah, I was able to find a scholarship through them, and then I was also able to, I believe I found like one other scholarship through the school. Because I definitely went to the school and asked them, like, okay, what other options are there out there? But the biggest thing that kind of closed that gap for me was I found the organization called Scholarship Foundation. And honestly, I can't remember exactly how I found this organization. I believe someone had recommended me or told me about it. And but this organization, they gave out scholarships, but besides just scholarships, they also gave out interest-free loans for students in college. So I went ahead and I signed up for the organization, and I was accepted. And that literally hinged that gap for me. To make sure I still had fun, and it's all for the rest of the years that I was in.
And just tell people, what kind of money are we talking here? Because see, the first time you had to raise your money, you ended up needing $350 a month. Mm-hmm. Got that down to $150 a month with some new scholarship, right? And how much money was it this time that you had to come up with?
Honestly, the Scholarship Foundation, I believe they funded me with almost around $6,000 per semester.
Per semester. Yeah. So $12,000 a year, 3 years, correct?
Yeah, for the next 3 years. Yeah.
Wow. Plus,
because they also funded me to go to West Africa, Ghana. Yep. So there's a program that was with UMSL. It wasn't a foreign exchange. It was basically they allow like a group of students to go to West Africa, Ghana, because they have like a partnership with the university there, University of Legon. And so I remember it was my friend Nicole. She was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Ghana." I said, "You're going to Ghana?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Ghana." And I was like, I want to go. Sure. And she was like, "Well, you only got one more day to fill out a scholarship to go for next semester." And I said, "One more day?" I said, "Oh, okay." So I filled out the scholarship for the school, which was they were going to fund you with basically like $1,500. I won that scholarship, by the way, because we were the only two that filled out. And when I say people don't sign up for things, people just don't. So we were the only two that signed up for it. So of course we're the only two that's going to get the scholarship. So I got that scholarship, and then I actually talked to the Scholarship Foundation and told them that, like, hey, I wanted to go to West Africa, Ghana. Will that be, can I do that? Do you guys have
Y'all not gonna take my
funding?
scholarship away again, right?
Right. No, I was actually asking, do you have any funding for that? And they actually, they did.
Wow.
And I think I could use my funding towards
So you
it.
probably get close to like $50,000 from this, from losing your scholarship. You end up getting damn near like 50 grand in a new scholarships that you had to find between the tuition for school, going to Ghana, all this kind of stuff.
Yes, so I was able to go to Ghana and fully pay for all of my expenses.
Wow.
And it was so great that semester. I remember being so happy that semester because they didn't charge me the rate that it costs in America for that semester. They charged me how much it would have cost in Ghana,
Woo!
which our dollar is worth so much more over there. So I ended up...
You had a refund check.
Yes. A big one. So
she had a refund
it was
check.
at minimum for that semester. It was about 10 grand
Woo!
that I had for that semester
Woo!
in Ghana. I was so like,
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
you telling me I'm in Ghana and my dollar is worth more? Man.
Wow. I just want to really like, I want you as an audience to understand this, right? She's in high school, loses the scholarship, figures out a way to go buy candy at Sam's Club to be able to replace her scholarship to the tune of $150 a month. She gets in college. This time she changes her major. It ain't the church taking the scholarship away. She did it to herself. But you weren't even worried about it. You just got to work. You said, I'm gonna figure out a way to pay for it. And not only do you pay for it, but you get them to pay you for you changing your major and them saying the scholarship don't belong to you anymore. I mean, that goes to that level of resilience. It can't be taught. It only is learned through the experience. And it's just, like, I've known you for years. I didn't know any of this stuff. And so just listening to you, it doesn't surprise me now to see where you've gotten in life, because it's like, wow, like, you've been doing this since day one. As your daddy would have said, you came out the womb like this. Okay? You came out the womb like this. And it just goes to show you that, you know, when your mindset is not like doom, gloom, oh, it's not going to work out, it's bad. Woe is me, the devil just got me, he just, you know, I can't do nothing. Like, if you refuse that type of mindset and say, no, it's going to work out for me, I'm going to figure it out. Man, it's just incredible. And there's something else. You may have found yourself and $10,000 in Ghana, but you found something else in Ghana too.
I did. I found the love of my life.
Woo!
I did. Mr. Festus Adoyobo.
Adoyobo.
So I am Mrs. Adoyobo.
Yes.
So,
And you've been married for how many years now?
This year's going to be 10 years.
Whoa, 10 years. Wow.
Yep.
Because she lost the scholarship. Now, she done got 10 grand, school paid for, husband, child, because she lost the scholarship. Man, it's just, and it's like, could you imagine if you hadn't have changed your major?
Man.
If you hadn't have had the scholarship taken away?
If I hadn't,
You would have been living a totally different life.
If I didn't have a little fire lit, like, you got one more day before the scholarship is due.
Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like all these little things that led you down the journey and the path of your life. And it's just incredible. One of those things that had gone differently, it would have been a totally different life.
Yep.
Wow.
And so, believe it or not, I started to get, starting to have a passion for hair while I was in undergrad.
Really?
Yeah. I started because I was starting to do my hair, and then, you know, some of the girls from gospel choir was showing me how to do a sew-in. And I was always, you know, very crafty with my hands. So, and I played the piano, y'all. Like,
we had to get a little rendition, you know.
So I would, you know, braid some hair and just do some things, cook, you know. I have a really, really best friend. His name is DeMarco, and, you know, him and Nicole, they had took me on for their own, and it was like, she ain't cooking for nobody else but us.
Said this food's too good.
Yeah. So, But yeah, I started to have a passion for hair. I started to actually understand my hair because, believe it or not, I had put some creamy crack in my head. That's what we call it
So
now.
what? Some creamy crack?
Creamy? The perm.
I don't, oh.
The relaxer.
Had that relaxer.
I had put some in my hair. I was, and then I didn't do it right. And and my hair just started to shed and fall out. And I remember my roommates or my suite mates, because so you have suites. So my suite mates, they were like, there is hair everywhere. Your hair is everywhere. Your hair is falling out. What is going on? And I remember them being so kind of upset, like there's hair everywhere. Right? And I was just like, I know. I'm crying. I was just like, I'm trying to permit it. It's just,
let your soul glow.
And I was like, I will take care of my own hair at this point.
Oh my God.
And I actually started doing research. My sister Serena, she was telling me about, natural hair, and there was this really popular lady on YouTube. I think her name was Kimmy Tube. That was just teaching about the science of natural hair and just how to take care of it. So I started to look at her videos. But besides that, so this is how you know I was a book, that was me. But I had all the archives. When you're in undergrad or in college, a lot of times your schools have different digital archives that you can get peer-reviewed papers and
okay, yeah.
You probably remember it a little bit, but you can research. You can get
right.
Research,
you can go and look at all their research documentation.
That you don't have to pay
you
for.
Have to
now
pay.
You got
right.
that you don't have to pay for, and then they have a slew, thousands of it, and different archives that you can go and look at. So guess what I did? I used to just randomly, look up different articles or different research papers when it came to natural hair. So I can really learn how and understand.
You want to know the science behind it.
I wanted to know everything behind it, and and I did that all through college. Believe it or not, I was in the honors college, so we always had to write, at least three papers per semester, right? But besides doing research for my papers, because I had to do research for my papers, I would let me do some research.
Always got 6, 7 different projects going on and straight A's. So
I would do research for about the hair, and I'm like, oh yeah.
What did you
this
sleep?
Is great.
What would you sleep?
Back in college, that 5-hour energy was a thing.
You said your energy was on 11.
But yeah, it was really great. So that's what sparked it. And I remember one of my I believe it was a digital marketing class. We had to come up with a business. We had a team, and we had to come up with a business and basically present it to the class. And then my team went ahead and agreed to do my business. And I was like, well, it's a hair business, And
that leadership skills, you said, let me tell y'all what we gonna do.
And we had to make a website and everything. So we made a website, a little small website, and just present about the business. And, we had to do some projections of where we were going to see it. Anyway, it was a whole thing. And after we did that project, I knew that I was like, I'm going to have to probably
I want to do this for real.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get into the hair business. Yeah. So I promise you, this was my senior year. It's about my senior year. And I just knew that the hair business was probably for
this
me.
Is it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, I want to fast forward a little bit. You get out of school. I want you to talk to me because I met you in the mall. You had a kiosk. And I want to know, what led you to be there? Because you were there, a few months before I got there.
Yeah.
And I want to know, what led you to that moment to go all in? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were working someplace else full-time right before that, weren't you, or no?
Yeah, so, okay. into the business world, right?
Yeah, so you already entrepreneurial, right? You didn't prove yourself over and over, but then you eventually take this big leap. And I think for a lot of people, for a lot of our lives, we think like, man, I want to do this, I want to start something. But it's hard to be like, especially once you get out, you got bills that's due, you got to make rent every month, you got car payments. Sometimes it's hard to make that full jump into it. And so I just kind of want to know like how that ended up happening.
How did I end up getting to the mall? Wow. So honestly, what happened was where should I start? I had just I started back working. Mm-hmm. I believe I was already started back working. I was actually working for a collections company, believe it or not. And then I believe I was moved into a leadership position as a business analyst for this company, not just a collector, which was a really, really great opportunity for me.
Yeah.
But I had already started my business, and at that time I was only focused on like selling hair products.
Got you.
That was my focus, on selling, because I did so much research on like curly textures and stuff, and then I created this curly texture sew-ins, basically like tracks and everything, different textures, right? And at that time when I decided to go into the mall, I was I had some of my family living with me, and my uncle had said to me, he was like, yeah, you're in your business and that's great and everything, but you should sell your stuff in the mall. And I said, this is my uncle that's living with me, y'all. And
wait, he's living with you.
He's living with him and his whole family.
Is living with you.
Is living with me.
And he like, you should sell your stuff in the mall.
Tammy's selling her. I'm sorry. You might have to block that out. I don't put nobody's names out there. But yeah, my wife is selling, her books in such and such mall, and we did it back when we were in a different state and everything, and you should sell your stuff in the mall. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna go big, I guess I need to go all the way big.
Hey, you know what's so funny about that? When I was gonna go to the mall, even though I told myself that, I felt the same way. I'm like, the mall? What am I talking about? Wait a minute now.
And I was just like, well, nobody else is doing it. Why not? And then, and that's what I thought. I was like, well, let me, like, how do I do that? And so I was like, I'm sure people call the mall. So I called the mall and I inquired, and I was like, do you have like, and they were able to tell me, we have like kiosk booths that you can do, or you can do like pop-ups. And actually at that point, I don't even think pop-ups was existing for the mall. They didn't have that yet. So they had these kiosk booths, and and I was like, well, I'm a rent one out. I'm a rent one out, and do it.
And were you? Because for me, when I did, I was so nervous because I just was so afraid I wasn't gonna make my money back. Because I'm like, the mall, like, who goes to the mall? So I was terrified. Like, were you nervous at all, or did you just like, no, I'm gonna make it work? I know me.
I mean, I've always been like a risk taker. And I was like, I've always told myself, that's one thing that I always actually lean back on. I was like, you know what? God was able to provide for me when I needed money for high school. And it happened, even though I didn't always see exactly how it was going to happen. He took care of me then. I know he's going to take care of me now.
Yep.
Not. So that in almost every endeavor that I do, that's the mindset that I go in with.
Yep.
So like I was excited. I was like, ooh,
let's get it
to people. Like, let's go. And it was just a part of me. So I was excited, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to these people, and they gonna buy my curly texture weave. And I was excited about it, right? And so I started to I was starting to sell like some of my stuff, but it was going so slow, extremely slow. And I'm like, damn, I need to make some money. Like, I gotta pay for this
Kiosk.
Kiosk, okay? Gotta make a little money. And so I said, I need an add-on product. I remember thinking, like, I need like an add-on product that I can sell, you know, to boost my sales, like, so we can make some money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I think I thought of a few other things, and then I remember I had braids at the time, and I was like, man, I really wish there was some beautiful jewelry that we could put in our braids that didn't look like the cheap stuff from the beauty supply.
Right. From the Michaels and the Creator store, the stuff that the kids had on when you were 6 years old.
Man, I remember saying, I just need some beautiful jewelry. So I made me some, and then I remember some of the ladies were like, that is so pretty, like, I want that. Like, and they were literally buying jewelry that I made for myself off my hair. Like, and I was like, this is interesting. So I was like, well, maybe this can be my add-on product. So I remember I made a tray full of like little jewelries, and I was like, I'm gonna sell them. I would sell them, and people were buying them. They were buying them off the tray really quickly, and it was like, they're so pretty, they're beautiful, they got crystals in them, and I was like, oh wow, people actually like this.
People like this. So
believe it or not, that season, it was like a period of 3 months, I end up selling mainly lock jewelry.
And I want to, and you know, it was so crazy because when I met you, that was like the main thing you were selling. I think I maybe met you like a month after you had started or so, because I came in November. Yep. And you started what, October or September?
October.
Okay, and so, you know, when I came, I ended up getting a custom piece of jewelry from you. Actually, multiple custom pieces. But one of them was a necklace that I got from you, like Wakanda, and was so fire too. And then I broke it, but that's neither here nor there. And then I also got my now fiance a bracelet that matched, and it was just like, but what's so crazy is you didn't even go into it knowing that's what you was gonna sell. And like, people ask me all the time, they're like, so you quit your job to start Flipstick? I'm like, no, I quit my job to start a marketing company, and I was gonna do marketing. It wasn't until I started doing marketing and realized this ain't working out for me, I don't like this, that I then stumbled across the idea for Flipstick. And so it's one of those things where I think, when you say, you know, whether it's God, universe, whatever you believe in, when you say, look, I'm going out on faith, and I just know for myself, like, there's something bigger meant for me, and I'm meant to do it on my own. When you do that, all of a sudden, the idea comes to you because you stepped out on the faith. Now you got to have an idea that comes. Yeah. And I was talking to someone earlier today, and we were talking about how if you don't believe in impossible things never happen to you. But when you go into the world and you say, look, I don't know how, but I just know it's going to happen. It's the only way these things happen to you. And I think that the faith that you had, that it would work out, is the most powerful thing there. But most people don't realize that that's usually what comes first. Yeah. It's not the product or the service first. It's the belief.
Yep, it was the belief, because I totally pivoted myself at the time, and I learned more lessons at that time too. I was like, well, that's when I was able to apply some of my business knowledge, right? I was like, well, the type of environment that I'm in, which was in the hallway of a mall, the type of product that I was trying to sell, which was hair extensions, wasn't that type of product that you would buy off of an impulse. Okay, and I realized that I'm in the mall, I'm in the hallway. When I'm stopping people, they're coming to the mall for a particular reason, right? They didn't expect to see me that day. Sometimes when it comes to hair sales, it takes a little bit more time, right?
Yep.
They want to feel the hair, touch
rapport
it
with you,
and it's just So it was like a different type of buy. And so I was like, well, I need something a little bit more impulsive, right? Something that people can buy quickly. And you know, the lock jewelry apparently was a need, was a desire that people wanted, and no one else could find the type of jewelry that I was making anywhere else at that time. So I was fulfilling a need when it came to, like, because you put it on your braids and your locks and your twists, and they thought it was cute. And then I also had like other things like waist beads and just a few other like cute things that I was using as an add-on sale. I had got some things from West Africa, Ghana. You remember the Ghana? My husband's from there, so his sister had shipped me some stuff. And I was selling cute little purses, and I was selling all type of little stuff, right? Because I'm like, I'm trying to make it happen.
As you went along.
As I went along.
A lot of people think, like, I'm going to set up this plan, I'm going to come up with this, and it's going to be a 6-point plan, and a 5-part 6-point plan. And it's like, no, it ain't going to work out that way, okay? It never works out the way you think it's going to work out.
Yep.
But if you don't give up, and you put yourself out there, and you just are determined that it's going to work out, regardless of the way, all of a sudden you just start learning.
Yep. And then when it comes to business, period, you have to know how to pivot yourself, because if you don't know how to pivot, you're not going to be able to pivot or move or change or make good, quick decisions when your market changes or when something happens in your market or to the world. So a great example of that is the fact that something happened in our market to the world, and that was COVID. So something happened with COVID, and keep in mind, I want to let you guys know, I was working full time, but then right before COVID hit, I had decided to quit my job. I had literally, I promise you guys, it was like no more than 4 days before everything started shutting down. So I had decided to quit my job, and I had made out a plan, you guys. Like, it was a detailed plan. I promise you, I made out a plan. I got
the whole plan.
And I was like, I was going to go to different like pop-ups, different events in different cities, and do trade shows and sell my lock jewelry and my little add-on stuff with that. And I wanted to be very mobile, and that was my plan. But
then the world shut down.
And the whole world shut down. So what do you do? What do you do at that point? So I remember I had just quit my job, and then the world shut down, right? And I'm like, dang. I just quit my job. What you talking about? Like, I knew this was time for me to quit my job because I'm making, more money on the weekend than I was making in 2 weeks with my job at that point. Just selling my lock jewelry, by the way, at the mall. So I was like, okay, everything is shutting down. And then I remember thinking to myself, I said, well, everybody is in utter chaos. Right? And believe it or not, I was listening to Grant Cardone.
G-Money.
G-Money, right? I was listening to Grant Cardone, and I remember him, and I don't remember which exactly thing I was listening to, but he was talking about finding opportunities, even when there wasn't an opportunity there. Or you don't think it's one there. And I remember pulling myself back, and I was like, I'm not going to panic. Like, there are opportunities when there seems like there's not even no opportunities to be found. And I was like, I know COVID is here, but what opportunities can happen through COVID? And I didn't find it that day. Okay, and I had told your
mindset that day was open to it.
Yes. So I remember how I actually had a meeting with my husband, right? And I was like, we have to find opportunities in the world. And he was like, there's COVID. I was like, I understand that. I need you to act like COVID is not exactly here, and use COVID as a catalyst to figure out what opportunities are out there. And then I remember him just like, I don't know. He said, I don't know. And I'm like, keep your mind open. Leaving the conversation like, keep your mind open, right? And she was like, this woman. But that was my mindset. But the next day, that's when I found that opportunity. I was going through my email, and some of my vendors, they were saying to me, hey, we have PPE equipment. If you know anyone that needs some PPE equipment, let us know, and you know, we can get it to them and help them out. And I remember thinking, I'm like, the whole world is screaming
for this equipment, and somebody's telling me they got it waiting for me.
Equipment, things like isolation gowns, things like, of course, masks, things like hand sanitizers, things like no contact thermometers. Literally, someone sent me an email saying they have this ready to go, and if you know anybody, let me know. I said, I was like, well, I think that's what Grant Cardone was talking about. Like, opportunity. I saw an opportunity, and I took it, and I was like, I wonder how many more connections that I already have with vendors that I already work with. How many more people have this stuff, and I can just coordinate it. And that's exactly what I did. So I was able to, you know, I had direct contacts with people in different countries to help.
And I remember you made tens of thousands of dollars.
I promise you that I had quit I think it was May. No, it was before May, March. I had quit I had just had a baby too, by the way. I forgot about that part. But I had quit, I believe it was in March, and or the end of February. And then I promise you, March and April, within a span of 3 months, I was able to make over $100,000.
Woo!
Just by coordinating PPE equipment to get to places like nursing homes, traveling companies. So when I say transportation companies, not traveling companies, not-for-profit organizations right here in St. Louis. And and people was like, well, how did you do that? You know what?
Mindset,
but not just mindset, you guys. Okay, I know y'all remember, like when COVID was happening, they had like that map showing like the whole United States, right? Of like different places of where, you know, it was like really, really prevalent. So I used that map, and then I had found another list and another map that had like all the names and addresses and numbers of nursing homes all over the world, right? So I would look at certain cities where COVID is happening really, really bad. I heard that nursing homes, they was having issues. So I would find nursing homes in that city, and I'll call them and like, hey, this is Desiree with Malika Hair. Is your administration available? And then
cold call. Basically, I was cold calling, and then then they'll let me speak to the administrator. And I was like, hey, I know that, you know, this time I have access. I'm a hair company, but with my vendors, I have access to PPE equipment that you may need. And I think, like, even though you say it's not just mindset, so many people like myself would have been like, this is not my lane. I don't even want to get into it. I'm not going to go down this road. But you didn't stop there.
I had to pivot.
You said, I have to pivot. Here's an opportunity, and I'm going to take advantage of it. And you made more money in those 2 months than you had made in the last how many months combined?
My whole life.
It was unbelievable. And I remember I saw this happening, guys. And I remember when you were doing it and how you were just so elated. I remember one time you was trying to go for this like multi-million-dollar state contract.
Man, I was trying, because business, y'all. I had got certified, and I got approved through SIMS. To be able
which is the government organization to sell to the federal government.
Yes, so I was looking for contracts.
It was just incredible
to sell the PPE equipment and everything, and
I think it really just speaks to like who you are as a person, right? It's like, look, I'm gonna get knocked down in life. That just is gonna happen. That's a guarantee. But I know that with my belief in my God, I'm gonna make it through. I just got to keep my eyes on a swivel, my head on a swivel for the opportunities for when they present themselves.
Yeah.
Whether it's a scholarship opportunity, whether it's an opportunity at manufacturing or distribution, whether it's candy at Sam's Club, it doesn't matter. It's always the same thing. But you are always open to the opportunity, to the realization that there's an opportunity in front of you. You just got to see it. And for you, and once you see the opportunity in front of you, you take action and you go for it with everything you got. And I think for so many people out there, either A, they never see the opportunity because they don't believe it's there, or B, they see it and they're like, it won't work out. I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, you know, you start blinding your own self before you even start.
Psych yourself out before you start. So true.
And that can be a problem. So,
wow.
But no, I didn't do that. I went ahead and took that opportunity and I worked. And I did cold calls, you guys. Cold calls. Was able to, because I saw a need in the market. I had a solution. And I gave that solution to my people, to the people. Now, I went ahead because I'm very savvy. I told you I'm very creative. I organized everything very creatively. You know, I had pictures of everything. I had all the correct paperwork for all of the equipment. And I will send everything over so they can see, like, okay, this is a brochure just in case. Because sometimes people need credibility, you know, just to say, make sure I'm not giving to the person off the street, you know,
right,
or something of that sort. And I was able to help, oh my gosh, I was able to help tens and thousands of people by doing this, by using what I have, my business, the connections that I have all over the world to help the people right here in my city, but also people all over the states. Because it wasn't just the people that...
It was a worldwide
It was a worldwide thing. So, and I was able to help the companies that needed the help the most, which was, you know, different...
these
smaller
vulnerable populations.
The vulnerable, population.
The nursing homes, schools.
Even schools, schools too. So, and it was really, really great. And it was I felt like I was doing something for the world.
Wow. It's incredible. And it just goes to show you, like, there is no right way. There's only the way you go and do it. And so it's up to you to just take the step forward. Like, you don't know what the right step is until after you took it. So just take that step and keep going. And as you go through the journey, you'll figure it out. Like, you figure it out
and
along the
sometimes
way.
you have to pivot yourself, and that's okay. So going back to hair, right? I'm like, well, how did you get the salon, right? Well, I was able to use some of that money that I was able to, raise for the salon. So I can get the salon, which was very, very helpful. But outside of that, I don't want people to think like, oh man, everything is just perfect. That was a perfect pivot. You made a great thing happen, and now you got all this money. Well, no, not exactly, because I was still learning. And at the time, I went ahead and I bought so much more PPE equipment with the money that I had made. And at the time, the market started to be saturated. And so everybody was actually starting now back to be able to get the products and different things. So I had ended up wasting a lot of that money because I went and overbought supplies, which eventually I ended up giving most of it away. But I overbought product, I overbought supplies, and I'm like, man, now I'm only left with not much. And that's a learning. I don't call it, oh man, you failed. Man, that was your opportunity and you took it and then you made it, you failed. No, that's a learning lesson. A lesson that I had to learn. Like, you have to, first of all, budget, and then also just look into the market of whatever market that you're in. This is not your normal market that you're in. But whatever market that you're in, make sure you're understanding trends and make sure you're being very wise with that. But I wasn't. I'm going to be honest. And so I did have a little bit money, and I was like, okay, well, I decided that I was going to open up a salon. And how did I get from selling jewelry to opening up a salon?
Selling PPE.
From selling PPE. And honestly, because my original thought I was gonna be real mobile, and I'm like, open up a salon. I'm like, it's the middle of COVID. But what happened was, God told me, and I was passing up the mall. He was like, I want you to open up a salon, and I want you to do it at the mall. That's for you. And I remember thinking like, wrong person.
Not me,
Wrong person. Remember, we're supposed to be mobile. I'm selling this PPE. I'm going to be all right. And he was like, no, I need you to go and talk to, at the time, it was a mall management guy that worked there. And he was like, I need you to go and talk to him. I avoided it for about a good week. And then I was like, you know what? I've already worked in the mall. I've been, selling my stuff. I was like, why not go and ask? So I went and approached him, and I asked him, and he was like, well, did you know that the salon that we had, it had already shut down before COVID? Basically, that's what he was telling me. And I was like, really? And it was like, yeah. And, we would love to have you. We already have you, and we love your display, and we would love to have a salon from you here. We already have that bond of business and trust through you. And I was like, for real? And he ended up showing me the space and everything. And I sent them, of course, you gotta be prepared, y'all. So you just can't go in there with nothing. So
luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
So I already have my business plan together. I definitely invested into actually having someone help me with the business plan, just to make sure it was, financials and everything looked great to present. And I had my plan ready. I already had my plan ready to go, and I sent it in, and I was approved. And I just, needed that down payment. And I used some of the money that I've had to kind of get that down payment to pay for that.
And I want to
first month.
I want to talk about the timing here, though, because it wasn't just that there was an empty place in the mall to rent. They always got a place to rent. You were able to get a place that some other company has spent ungodly amounts of money to put a salon in the mall, which means they did all the plumbing and the wiring and all these sinks and these super expensive chairs and all of this equipment that they had already paid for and just left because they're a multinational company, and you got all that for free. You got that just by moving in there, correct?
Yep. Everything that was left in there, I was told that everything that was left in there is mine to keep.
And I want to add a little bit, because I know the story y'all can't tell. When you wanted to originally do the salon, there was another location you wanted because it was outside. It was outward facing. And it was a big, beautiful space. It was a little bit more expensive, but you were like, I want to be outside. That's where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And I remember when they didn't let you have that spot, you were upset about it.
I was so upset about it.
You were upset about it. And I was upset about it. I'm like, they should have given her a spot. That's some BS. But little did she know that what God had in store for you is like, no, because it's going to cost you too much to renovate to do all that work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have somebody else have done the work for you already. Boom, here you go. And that's just like when you heard that calling to say, this is where it's now. Now's the time. I want you to go ask now. It was one of those things where it's like, man, you can't write it any better. Like it was just given to you. And it reminds me, my grandfather sent me an article. My grandfather's a minister, and he sent me a verse, and it talked about I think Moses being in the desert, and about how he told the people that you will inherit these homes and you will inherit these buildings that you did not build. You will eat the food from the crops that you did not plant. And that's exactly what you did.
It's exactly. I remember, because I was so, I'm glad you brought that up, because I really wanted this other space. I really wanted it. And sometimes, even though you want things, the Lord knows that you're not ready for it yet. And I wasn't. And I was not ready for that space yet. So the other space that was presented to me, because I was actually denied that space. And, you know, but he said, you know, I know you're denied this space, but I know that we can get you this other space, which has everything. And this is what, you know, the mall recruiter basically told me. It has everything you need. It's already ready to go. At least look at it. He told me to at least just come and look at it. And so I went and looked at it. I was like, it's yellow. Ugh. I remember going to look at it, and then I was like, but you know what? It has everything. The bows, the just everything that I need. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it work. And I accepted. Wow. He accepted, and everybody was happy. And then the real work began.
Right, the real renovation began. But it's one of those things where sometimes you feel like you're meant to have one thing and you want one thing, but there's something else that's meant for you. But you can't see it because you never know because you don't see the whole picture right away. Yeah. And sometimes you kind of just got to go. Like, I remember, you know, trying to get onto Shark Tank and I didn't make it on, and I was so upset and devastated. Little would I know that if I had aired that season and got on that season, the pandemic was going to be right after. And then I would have been in a lot of trouble. And instead what happened to me is I came on while the pandemic was going on. So as I was going into this dip of my business, not being able to be in the mall anymore, well, then I had this huge opportunity that came right in the middle of COVID and was able to transform me from a business where I needed to be in person to where I could be online. And so it's just one of those things where sometimes you don't know why things are happening in the way and in the order that they happen, but it is the way and the order that it was meant to happen for you. And I think that, you know, sometimes we get so caught up, like believing that it's supposed to go a certain way, that we forget that, hey, it may not go the way I think it's supposed to go, but it may be the way it was supposed to go.
Yep.
Wow. Well, listen, this has been amazing. This has been an amazing ride. And I want you just, for those people who are out there, right, and they may be trying to do something on their own, you know, they're trying to figure things out. What advice do you have for them? You know, what can you offer them to help them do what it is that you've learned to do over these years?
Yeah, if I was to advise, and especially if you're just starting off, is to be consistent. And not just consistent, but be determined on what you're doing. Because if you're consistent, your consistency will pay off.
100%.
Just be consistent on a daily basis, from everything from your daily habits to your monthly habits. Just be consistent and keep working towards your goal.
That's so critical because, you know, when you're doing your own thing, ain't nobody gonna tell you to get up in the morning to do it. Nobody's gonna tell you. It ain't like it's chores. It's not like it's in school or the teacher telling you to get your work. No, it's just up to you. Either you do it or you don't. No one knows if you did it or didn't do it but you. And so that consistency can be hard. It can be really hard, but it's crucial.
Man, and that's even in my own life. If I were more consistent in the beginning, I'm telling you guys this from just experience. If I was more consistent in the beginning, I'll probably be farther than where I'm at right now.
We all would.
And just really understanding self-discipline is a big thing.
Yep.
You know, can you keep yourself from the small things? Oh, I'm not going to spend money on, you know, all this eating out today.
That financial discipline.
Because I'm going to be self-disciplined and I'm going to cook at home. Or just the little things. I'm going to go to the gym every day. Okay? I'm going to create me a schedule.
I'm going to make the cold calls.
Schedule. I'm going to actually make the calls. I'm going to, you know, actually write out, you know, my strategy and do it. Just being consistent with whatever you're doing is very, very, very essential.
Yeah.
It's the key.
I always tell people, if you only did one thing each day towards your dreams, just one. I ain't even talking about 3 things a day. Just one goal per day. In a year, you would be shocked at how much progress you have made if you just did one thing. And I'm not even talking about one thing that takes all day. I'm talking about one thing that may take an hour. You'd be shocked at how far you'd go, because most people, they get a little momentum, they go hard for a week, and then they're like,
go right back down.
You go right back down. You lose all your momentum. And it's like, if you just keep doing one thing each day, man, you make so much progress. So I love that consistency. Anything else that you have for the people out there?
Yeah. So, for my men and women that are in the beauty industry, I am starting on a new journey, outside of just my own business. I kind of told you a little bit earlier about now. I am being a business success coach. I'm in training to be a business success coach.
Wow.
Well, I will be able to help, in my mind, hundreds and thousands of business owners in the beauty industry specifically, and teach them how to scale their business. So stay on the lookout for that on my social media pages.
And so who are the type of people that would be a good fit to reach out to you? Like, are these people that, would this be like, if I'm doing hair in my house and I got like 20 clients, like, is that right? Or is it someone who already like owns their own salon and is trying to scale from 100K to $1 million? Like, who's the right person?
This is for, honestly, any business owner, whether you're in the beginning of your business and you're, in a salon suite, or you're out of your house. This is also for the people that have already, they're at a good stable point. So somebody that already has a team and a staff, and they're trying to scale their business even more and develop and known strategies that is working for hundreds of thousands of other members that is already working.
Right. And so this is part of a large organization.
Yes, I'm a part of a larger organization. So this is for everybody that is just looking to truly scale their business.
But wait, now you didn't already done all this stuff. You just saying this? Did you use it? What's
Yes, I've actually been a part of them.
This is what you actually have done these strategies.
Yes.
Okay. I just got to make
this is
sure.
Exactly what I've used to help scale my business at the moment. Over 10K a month with one person. Right now we're reaching about 20K.
Wow.
Just with mainly one stylist, and we're shooting higher goals for later on, of course. But yeah, just teaching other.
So this will really help people to get their beauty-based business to 5 figures a month, and beyond.
Yes, this is people that are a part of this organization. They have different, not just hair. It's just the beauty industry period that they're making.
So
skincare, 100K a month in
Wow.
their business, and teaching other businesses and other people that are in the beauty industry how to do that for themselves.
Wow, awesome. Well, Desi, man, I feel like I didn't know you before this. Like, I feel like I've learned so much. Shoot, I may have to go start me a skincare line. But, I think for me, the biggest takeaways is like your resiliency to not give up. Like when your back is against the wall and things haven't worked out the way you had planned for them to work out is really inspirational. And, I think for anyone, regardless of if they have a business, don't have a business, whatever they want to do, the only thing that allows it to work is your resiliency, because it won't work out. Even with the best strategy, you will face problems. But if you have the same mindset that you had, man, you're going to make it work out. Like, no question about it. You're going to figure out a way. And you have the will to just make it happen. And, I'm so honored to know you. And now I feel like I know you a lot more than I knew you an hour ago. And I'm just excited to see where your journey continues to take you.
And I appreciate the opportunity to even do this with you and be able to help others, in their journey. So it's always exciting.
Awesome. Man, if those weren't some good keys, boy, I don't know what are. The keys to life, happiness, pursuit of joy and success. Well, listen, guys, this has been another great episode. I want to give a big shout out to our friends over at the National Corvette Museum. If you want to roll around in a Corvette just like this one for only $20, make sure you head over to their website. The description, the link is in the description, and you can enter to win a Corvette of your very own for just $20. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.